most elaborate frame job someone attempted on a hedgehog. Standing in the middle of our jewelry store's annual employee appreciation party, while my coworker Melanie screamed that my hedgehog Franklin was trained by the cartel to identify diamonds for smuggling operations, should have been the weirdest accusation of the night, but she was just getting started. She'd cornered the district manager next to the chocolate fountain waving a folder labeled "Evidence of Hedgehog Crimes" in red Sharpie, and was explaining how Franklin's breathing pattern matched known terrorist communication codes. The district manager kept trying to edge away, but Melanie grabbed his sleeve and pulled out a printed screenshot of Franklin sleeping with red circles drawn around his paws, claiming this was classic attack posture used by military-trained rodents. This whole mess started 8 months ago when I inherited Franklin from my cousin who got deployed overseas, saying he needed someone to watch his hedgehog for a few months, but then his deployment got extended and he figured Franklin would be better in a stable home. Franklin arrived in this massive setup with toys arranged in perfect rows and his food bowl in an exact corner, and if I moved anything even an inch, he'd spend hours pushing everything back to where it belonged. He had this bizarre ritual where he'd sort his kibble by size before eating and arrange his wood shavings into geometric patterns that looked like crop circles, and I thought maybe he was broken or something. I worked at this high-end jewelry appraisal firm doing initial stone sorting, which meant 8 hours of separating real from synthetic from glass. One night I was practicing with loose stones at home and dropped a few near Franklin's pen. He immediately started pushing them around with his nose, and after 20 minutes had separated the cubic zirconia from the real diamonds. I thought he was just being silly, but when I tested the gemstones, he was actually right. I started bringing different stones home, and Franklin would organize them into value categories while I watched TV and ate takeout, and I thought it was just this funny party trick nobody needed to know about. When my apartment building started construction, I had to bring Franklin to work because he couldn't sleep with the jackhammering, but I kept him hidden under my desk in his carrier figuring nobody would notice. Melanie started with formal complaints claiming Franklin was sending her threatening messages through strategic quill positioning, then escalated to calling the FBI saying I was running an underground hedgehog gambling ring. She created a 40-slide PowerPoint titled "Franklin, the Face of Evil," with photos from different angles with captions like plotting and reviewing victim list, and she even tried to perform a citizen's arrest on Franklin during a staff meeting with actual handcuffs she'd brought from home. She hired a private investigator who quit after one day, and she accused him of being in on the conspiracy, then posted photos of Franklin on neighborhood watch pages claiming he was casing houses for burglaries, and stood up during a client presentation to announce that Franklin was actually 3 different hedgehogs working in shifts to maintain constant surveillance. 2 months ago, she tried to get a priest to perform an exorcism on Franklin's carrier during lunch, and when he refused, she accused the entire Catholic Church of hedgehog corruption. A week later, she'd apparently decided to make her final stand, telling the district manager that Franklin had been trained by Russian intelligence to identify which gems could be used in laser weapons, and she had proof from WikiLeaks. Her proof was just a blurry photo of a normal hedgehog in Moscow. The district manager finally asked what exactly my hedgehog did all day, so I said I'd trained Franklin to sort gemstones by value, which made Melanie scream, "I knew it, he's weaponized," but I brought out practice stones anyway. Franklin immediately started pushing them into corners with his nose, nudging synthetic sapphires left and glass beads right and actual diamonds to the back while everyone filmed with their phones. Melanie shrieked, "This is illegal hedgehog labor," but people were applauding. Someone called out, "Test him with the real inventory," and our manager said, "Let's bring out everything from the safe." Melanie's face went white. They brought out 2 trays containing every high-value piece from our store, including the 5-carat centerpiece and the vintage Tiffany diamonds and the new emerald set worth $500,000 total, all mixed together like the world's most expensive rock pile. We threw in a few random fake stones, and Franklin started pushing stones into 2 piles, and the left pile kept growing massive while the right pile stayed pathetically small. After 10 minutes, the district manager checked the big pile and said, "These are all cubic zirconia." Melanie suddenly screamed, "Franklin planted them, it's a hedgehog frame job." Everyone turned to stare at her, thinking this wasn't about the hedgehog anymore. Melanie fell to her knees, sobbing, "My boyfriend said NFTs were the future and I needed seed money and hedgehogs can't see colors. This is impossible," while Franklin groomed his tiny paws. The police said she'd stolen $300,000 over 14 months, and Franklin had identified every fake in 10 minutes. She kept screaming about CIA hedgehogs and demanding a hedgehog expert witness, while Franklin went back to sleep, completely unaware he'd just solved the biggest theft in company history by pushing rocks around.